Today, I'm gonna have to take care of something that I've been dreading for a while.
That aluminum housing is probably pretty thick. Ooh, I made it.
It's very vital for the car and it to work properly. It's tedious, and if you screw it up, it can be expensive, and man, it's just one of them kind of jobs.
Uh-oh. We may have to take this thing back out.
And that is installing the dash in this old Plymouth GTX sitting behind me. And we're doing an upgrade, a much more modern upgrade.
But that's where it's starting to look like something. It's not too bad.
This car has got some fuel injection on it, and the customer who owns it, they wanted to kind of spruce things up. And luckily for me, they don't make a direct application for this particular car. So don't worry, I'm sure we'll get something done, and hopefully it doesn't catch on fire. If you'll notice, we've got multiple connections. We're reusing some of the factory stuff, and I have went in and tested all my little backlights. We'll flip this thing over. We are going to reuse the temperature gauge, gasoline gauge. This one is a amp gauge. We won't be using that, and I've got the oil pressure light. I'm going to reuse it, but with the new gauge cluster. Sit down here, try not to break nothing. This is a new Holley Pro Dash. It's the smaller one of the bunch, and it has a lot of features to it. You can use multiple like gauges setups in there. I think there's 8 or 9. You can also customize them. You have lights up here in the top that you can program, and all you have to do is basically pin this thing out, and that's where this big old connector is here, and then you set up and go through it, and it's a whole bunch of big old processes. So yeah, it's gonna be okay, I promise.
One of the things I am going to have to do, rework my wiper switch. That was one of them. We were doing a little bit of some testing earlier. What was happening is whenever you would turn the wipers off, they would go to what you would think is park. And then when you turn the wipers on, they would go down, then up. I didn't know if there was a linkage problem, so we got into it and was digging around. And I found that that really wasn't the problem. All the linkages and mechanisms was hooked up correctly. It's actually the switch. Yeah, when you turn the switch off, it just goes off. It doesn't go into the park position, because you could take and put it in a park, wiggle, jiggle the knob, and then all of a sudden it'd go to park. Then when you cut it on, they'd start like they're supposed to. I got a trick for that. Let me show you what we got. We wound up testing all the stuff in here, and that's kind of where we come to that conclusion. Now with this old car, it has sat for a bunch of years. And a lot of times with electrical switches, what really and truthfully happens with them is, yeah, they can wear out because of the springs and that kind of thing. But normally that's not the problem with them. As long as the thing isn't burnt, normally the issue is just inside of here, the contacts get kind of tarnished, kind of from just setting, where that copper or brass that's in them oxidizes. So a quick, easy fix for that is some good old lemon juice. You can soak them switches in there, and then this stuff will clean that up. I'll also drop in a copper penny in this thing just so that you guys can see what or how well it works. I'm also going to take and drill 2 holes, 2 tiny, tiny holes, one on each side. That will help let that liquid in and out, because you want to make sure you get it out. And whenever you're all said and done, this thing will smell lemony fresh. All we're going to do is drill, like I said, the little bitty hole. How small? Super small. I'm going to grab the smallest one I got. It is a 16. Now you also want to make sure that you don't have any, you don't want to, or you want to try to keep as much of the metallic pieces out of that thing as possible. You don't want it to short. I'm going to do it kind of slow. Keep cleaning my drill bit. That aluminum housing is probably pretty thick. Ooh, I made it. That's all you needed. Now we'll flip this thing over. Do the same thing. Now, if you'll notice, I also brought this thing back from that edge. Reason for it, I bet you this front face of this thing is probably about 1/8 of an inch thick. And I don't want to be trying to drill through all of that. It's also a good idea to just get through the surface, meaning this little piece of aluminum. You don't want to drive that drill bit all the way through there, because you're liable to damage the internal. Come on. Looks like I need to sharpen my drill bit. Not putting much pressure on it at all. All right, that did it. And get this thing up here, you can tell 2 little bitty holes. Yep. This is the easy part. Just put it in a bucket. Gonna fill her up. Hope I got enough lemon juice. Oh yeah, that did it. You can see we completely submerged the switch, and then I'm going to take this thing and let's see, where are the holes? There's one of my holes, you see? Put it in there, tilt it to the side, make sure it gets all the air out, and make sure that it gets soaked in there with all that juice. Try it from the other side. It's kind of filling that inside of that switch up. That ought to do it. And let's see here. Trying to find a cruddy looking. There we go. There's a old gnarly looking penny. We're going to drop that in there just so you guys get to see what that thing looks like after we let this soak. I have left these things soak for quite a while. But how long? Well, I like to leave them a couple of hours. With that penny that we just dropped in there, that's a good way to know how well it's cleaning it. You can pull it out periodically and just look to see. I'm telling you, it will really truthfully brighten that thing up, and all that lemon juice is doing is all the work for you. So we'll just let this thing kind of marinate for a bit. We'll get to doing some other stuff. Now here's I guess you could call it a tip. Now with a headlight switch, you have a headlight knob and the little rod on it. Now getting these apart sometimes can be, once you know how that it's done, it's crazy simple. What it has is on top of this switch, there is a little bitty pole with a spring on it, if you see what I'm talking about there. And once you depress that, you can take this out. But you have to make sure that you take the headlights, pull them on, push that button, and then it slides right out. That may sound pretty simple, and it is because it is. But I've seen people take and chew a headlight knob up, a rod, use a claw hammer, just trying to like pull this thing out of there. In all reality, all you have to do is push that button and this thing comes apart. Pushing the button, or knowing to push the button, is pretty simple. Sometimes it's pretty complicated to snake your arm all up in there. Push the button, that can be the difficult thing. Now, on this one, I bet you that we need to plug this thing in first. Then we'll have to kind of assemble this thing as we go. I went ahead and put some tape up here on top of my steering column. I'll put just a little bit more because I'm trying to keep from chewing this thing up whenever we go to put that assembly all in there. So now we got to plug the dash into this thing, and then I think we need to mount that wiper switch. So yeah, we need to put that on, and then we can put the headlight switch in. Then we got to this is going to be a task. Well, it's been about 2 hours or so. Slide some of this stuff. I should have cleaned up while I was doing all that stuff. Yeah. But we can pull this thing out of there and just see what it looks like. See if it's done its job. Probably has done something. Phew. It makes quite a smell, I can tell you that. And all that junk out of there. Them contacts are definitely cleaner. It's funny, I kind of have some reservations about sticking my hand in this lemon juice to get that penny out. It's just lemon juice. But if you smell this stuff, you would know what I'm talking about. Let's just do it. Come on. At least it's not staying in there very long. Now that was with this old penny just sitting in there. Now that thing was black and tarnished out earlier. That's only with about 2 hours or so. You can see it's well on its way. We're going to drop that in there. Drop our switch back in there. I'm going to cycle my switch some. That might help to agitate some of the contacts in there. We'll let this thing sit for another couple hours, because I want to make sure it's 100%. I probably should go wash my hands. Hey there, what are you doing? You know what you could do? You could stop for just a second and hit that little subscribe button. It don't cost you nothing, and it sure helps us out. That helps this channel grow, and we need your help. If you don't mind, and you like to push that button, you know, some people like to push buttons. That's all you gotta do. Click subscribe. Thanks again, and keep it between the ditches, folks. Well, we got our wiper switch now installed, and what I wound up doing to clean it out, you guys know I gave it that quick soak in that lemon juice for a couple hours, and then put some compressed air on one side of that little hole I drilled and blew it out of there. I also plugged off that hole and let it blow it out of the little shaft here, and that pretty much dried it out like we were needing. And now whenever you cycle this thing, it's nice and crisp. Earlier, when you would do that, it was almost, you could tell it was kind of gummed up sounding. So it's a lot better. We actually turned the, hooked the battery up, cycled it, and it's working like it's supposed to. So now it's time to put the rest of this stuff together. And this is going to be kind of a process. Finagle this thing in here. Let it find its home. Let's see. Graceful, guys. Graceful. Y'all check out my huge pliers. Awesome. Now, let that dangle, not scratch nothing. We gotta pull that back out of there. Come on. So, this is how this all works. Kinda got to finagle this thing up and around here. This is kind of some really tight quarters. Got to finagle. Headlight switch. Kinda like so. Take this thing. Hopefully we can get it started. Then we use our ND screwdriver. Torque that to spec. Then got your wire connectors. This is gonna be awesome. You know, this is kind of one of those moments. Kind of just absolutely test your patience. But you just gotta keep going. You can't give up on it. Nope, can't do it. It's not an option. You spent 2 hours. Now there is a whole lot going on with this little setup here. Whoop, don't scratch it. Oh geez, did I scratch it? No, it's fine. Yeah, this is, you got this piece that it's kind of your, almost like your, let's call it your picture frame that goes around your factory gauge cluster. You gotta have this thing in there. And now we've got to try to fit this thing up here. And what we wound up doing was mounting that screen in the factory lens. Oh man, that lens has got gunk all over it. That's another thing that you have to pay attention to. You don't want to have all this thing assembled and then like a piece of lint on the back side of your lens, because you can't get it. And to take this thing back apart, it may take you an hour or two. I'm gonna plug in my connection here. Getting my other one. Nah, we're gonna wait on that one. Might should have waited on that one too. We're gonna unplug that. See, this is what I'm talking about. And what's wild is this is just, then let's make sure. Yeah, this is a tedious little thing, but it's gonna be worth it in the end once we get it all together and it looks all fancy and cool. Now, one thing that was pretty neat about this setup is we didn't have to hook up a speedometer because it's got a little GPS sensor that goes on it. These little screws started. I don't want to cinch them all down. Now sometimes with custom applications like this, you almost have to forfeit a screw or a fastener or two. So if you ever had to like talk yourself off the ledge, you get so wound up in the project, things just start kicking your butt. And then the next thing you know, you're throwing a Donald Duck fit. I could tell you a story. Woo. I had a transmission yoke and I was trying to put it into a transmission. And I wasn't real sure if the splines was the same. They were kind of rusty, which means the tolerances change, if you know what I'm talking about. I commenced to forcing this thing in there. I got a hammer, it started, and I'm sitting over top of this transmission. The transmission's in the floor. I'd slid it in there, it had started, and I was wailing on this thing. Pop's like, "Are you sure you need to do that?" And I was like, "It's fine, I got it." Boom, I'm hitting. And I get it almost all the way in there. And he's like, "That ain't right. You know that it's supposed to kind of have that slip joint." I said, "I know." So I then turn and I'm trying to knock the thing out of the drive or out of the transmission tail housing. And I am flailing on this thing. And I'm mad and I'm cussing, not at Pop, just cussing at the situation. And I start bad mouthing this thing and then tell it the what for, and as I'm swinging, I miss and hit the tail housing with the hammer and shatter the seal of it where it kind of presses in there. And then I get mad and I throw the hammer and Pop goes, "Good job, you sure showed it." Walked off all calm. And I couldn't yell at Pop, of course,
because I should have known better. But about 20 minutes later, I was pondering on all that stuff, and I go, man, you knew better than this. Why are you getting so worked up? If you get to that point that you're kind of losing your cool, you know, just walk away for a minute. It sure does seem to help. Well, and by help prevent from tearing some other stuff up. All right, that one's tight. This one over here is tight. And then we got another one up here that needs, oh, we about got it. Come on. Awesome. I know that one's tight, that one's tight. I think nothing wrong with double checking yourself. You know, kind of feels good when you know you're right. Whew. Awesome. Another one of our upgrades other than that Holley Pro Dash is we have installed vintage air into this thing. Oh yeah, so smooth. But this little bezel has to be screwed in from the back with this funky little bracket and a big old long Allen wrench. Check out my big groovy spacer. Check out my big groovy spacer. I didn't get too elaborate here. I just stacked up some 1032 washers. But it sure would have been convenient if they'd send me the right kind of bolt. It's all good. Not everything can be easy. So yeah, but that's where it's starting to look like something. It's not too bad. Now guys, I'm not super duper up on these old cars. I'm pretty swift with them. But I can tell you one thing, that this piece of dash was expensive. We had to send it out and have it refurbished. I don't want to tell you the name of the company because the guy, he was such a butthead. But I have to say, he did a good job and he took forever and it was expensive. So when it comes to that cheap, fast, and good, well, I got one of them. So, but yeah, they did make these things at one time as a reproduction, but what happened was the die had broke and they were like 18 months out. And it took, I don't know, like 3 months to get this one back. And we wound up buying that piece from a company. But what sucked about it, it was expensive too. I think just that dash piece was like 400 bucks just for a glove box door. And then it come in and it was scratched and we had to repaint it. And then the holes that align it to the backing plate up there, we had to massage all that stuff. So, man, this dash, I'm not kidding folks, is kicking our butt. But some cars are just that way. I know this is one of them type of things. As we were setting this thing together, I'm going, man, some dude put this thing together on a factory assembly line and it wasn't nowhere near this complicated. But this one has been kind of a booger. Looks nice though. Oh, I just forgot something. This thing has, okay, they're in place, maybe. You know them little like body clips? This thing has some of them in that dash panel. And I was like, man, if them things ain't in there and I gotta try to finagle them off in there and wiggle around, it might be just, whoo, something. Ooh, look at that. I did notice something. That's handy to find right now. I don't know if you can kind of see it. I'm trying to get my light and all, but I almost unplugged my headlight switch. So we gotta try to get that back in there. May be able to. Battery disconnected. Yep. May have done it. Oh yeah. That plugged her back in. That wasn't nearly as complicated as I thought it was going to be. This is plugged up, that's plugged up, wiper switch, headlight switch is plugged up. So now we just have to shove this thing in the hole. Hold down on this one. All into place for me. Oh, there we go. Like a glove. for you. That wasn't too terrible. Got me an assortment of screws. I don't know which one's for what. Let's try that one. It's kind of starting to feel good. It's like I'm covering some good ground. Got 2 in. 3 in. Number 4. Hopefully it's not terrible. 4's in. Not too shabby. Put our knob back on. Come on, rascal. Got it. Put our baby Allen wrench back in. 2 more knobs. Now we actually refurbished our knobs as well. We scrubbed these things down, cleaned them, painted them, and then there's some company that offers the new inserts to this thing. And I went down and picked these up from Stevens Performance in Anderson, Alabama. When he told me about them, I said, man, that's crazy that you guys have them. He says, yep, I stocked them. And what's crazy is these silly things fell off in like 1969. That little bitty upgrade sure does make this little dash look so much better. Now, we didn't have to go through the process of trying to like repolish those. All you had to do was install them back onto it. Let's see here. This one goes on like so. We did the same with our headlight knob. Looks pretty good. Uh-oh. Come on. Sometimes a headlight knob's a little fidgety. Uh-oh. We may have to take this thing back out because it's acting up on us. Come on, rascal. Now, sitting here and looking at this, that little long aluminum thing looks like it's off a little bit. I wonder if it had anything to do with it. Weird, I just loosened that up and tightened it back up, and it kind of re-centered it. This sucks. May have to pull the dash back out of this silly thing. It's some of that quality parts you buy at your part stores. This one's not doing it. I'm curious if I can put a drop of oil right here on the little keeper. And all I'm gonna do is put a drop right here on that end. Actually gonna sling off the excess. Try that. Can't really get your arm up in there on this one, I bet. Dog. Let's just see. God, I don't know what's going on with it. We had it working. Remember me telling you about the time you need to just walk away? I have reached and met that moment. Well, I finally got the thing. And after pulling the dash back out of it, fiddling with that little headlight switch, taking it out, putting it in, pulling it back out, fiddling with it a little bit more, I finally got it. Yeah, I had to reinstall the dash and do all that, and it turns out pretty good. I mean, who are we kidding? It turned out really nice. And I want to show off this hard work and all that fanciness that we just installed in there. So y'all let me know what you think about it. So here we go. I'm gonna slide up in here. I also cleaned up my mess down here. And let's see here. Y'all ready? Oh, wait. Oh, battery's not hooked up. You know what they say about those who judge. Tighten that to spec. Let's try headlights. Headlights is on. Knob works. Okay. Here we go. Come on now. Wake up, baby. Boom, come on. Look at that. Left turn. Well, let's try the right turn. Yep, it works. High beams. Yep, dim it. Pretty cool. So what do you guys think? How did we do? I think it looks pretty nice. This dash on this car is definitely kind of fancy, but I'm missing something right here now. I gotta get one of them coming. And that's what it looked like before. I do believe the before and after is quite impressive. Shoo-wee, this old Plymouth sure is pretty fancy. Not sure if you guys are digging what we're doing, but I kind of like it. This thing has come a long ways and we're inching closer and closer to having it finished up. And I can tell you, that's one thing that I'm excited about. If you guys are liking what we're doing, I really appreciate you guys to just leave us a comment. And also, if you haven't yet, it don't cost you nothing, hit that subscribe button. And you know, guys, it's thanks to you that we have covered as much ground as we have in this short amount of time. So I want to say personally, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, we still got a lot more stuff to do. We've got, you know, that Hemi Bago that we're going to be taking to the track here before long. We've got those other two barn finds of the dirty half dozen we got to dig out. The brakes are stuck on it. Bad word. And we got Hammer's truck. We got my car. I'm hoping to get to my car if y'all haven't seen it. And even if you recognize his face, you may have seen it before. I tell you why I did what I did. Now, guys, as always, I want to just stop and say, keep it between the ditches. And I want to say thank you as well. Whew, this day's been a heck of a day. I think I'm going to go find me something cool and refreshing to drink.